Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone in between and adjacent, welcome to the Rush Rundown, what I believe is the first and only 10-minute testing ripoff for Rush Duels. Today on the Rush Rundown, we take a look at a pretty peculiar case. You see, there's a pretty popular YouTuber who's been asking for this card to be unbanned for a very long time. However, I've always been confused. I don't really understand what he meant because this card was never banned in the first place. Well, whatever. I am happy to report, Mr. Glasgow Yu-Gi-Oh! That Jointech Rex is not on any kind of ban list. So, you can now join me in taking a look at Jointech.
Wait, what? He's so friggin' nice!
This is the part of the video where I tell you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. That's right. Today we're taking a look at Jointech. A little aside, the intro is going to be the last time I mention Block Dragon at all, okay? But today we have Jointech, right? Now, you might be looking at this deck list and saying, huh, this looks very familiar to the Earth Machine deck you've shown us. This looks familiar to the Ancient Gear Golem Turbo deck you've shown us. And, well, yes. It's like all of these decks just play the best machine cards possible, and then whatever fulfills the skill requirement. Today, however, we have a little bit of a special case. You see, recently, a whole bunch of new equipped cards were added to the game, and Jointech got one of their own. This is a generic machine equip card, so when I first saw it, I was very scared of this being equipped to a Cyber Twin Dragon and piercing for a whole lot of damage. Thankfully, those fears are unfounded. However, unthankfully, if that's a word, we have the current format. Trust me, I played against enough of Gaia trying to test this deck for a lifetime. So there are some repeat cards that I've already gone over with you guys multiple times, so I'll focus more on the cards that we haven't exactly seen before. However, before we get started, there are two things we gotta go over. First of all, if there is a deck you would like to see me feature on this series, go ahead and leave that in the comments below. Usually I save this a little bit for the end of the video, but honestly, I don't know how many people actually make it to the end of these videos. Second, we always have to start our card by card with the skill. Our skill is Jointech Press Rush. Can be activated from turn 2 onward during a turn that you normal summon a level 7 monster or a Jointech Raptor if all the monsters in your constructed deck are machine type monsters and all the level 5 or higher. Monsters are Earth attribute monsters with 2500 or 2300 attack. Effect: add one Jointech Rush Horn from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Then you can make one face-up Jointech Raptor on your field, gain 500 attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. Now, the skill does actually read a little bit open-ended in terms of not really mentioning too specific of a type of card you have to put in. What I mean is there's individual locks that end up making it restrictive, but it has some openings where future cards could end up really boosting this deck's power. But as it stands, our best level 7 monsters are Jointech Rex and Jointech Tinosaurus. These guys I actually haven't seen much play at all. The Rex himself was usually removed from Jointech, Earth Machine, and those kinds of decks just because he isn't too great. What do I mean? Well, let's start our card by card at the Jointech Rex. During the turn you normal summon this card, shuffle 3 monsters from your graveyard to the deck. Destroy 1 card in your opponent's spell and trap zone. The issue with this guy, and the reason he's been kept out on pretty much every other Earth Machine deck I've done, is all he is MST with bad stats. And honestly, when you could just play MST, you play MST. We are on 3 Jointech Tinosaurus. Send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. Change 1 attack position monster on your opponent's field to face-up defense position, then make that monster lose 2000 defense until the end of this turn. This card is our big star. Not only does Tinosaurus have a decent stat line of 2300 attack and 2k defense, the effect of Tinosaurus sets us up perfectly to pierce over our opponent with the Jointech Rush Horn for a lot of damage. I should mention also that the only way to have gotten Tinosaurus at first was the Wave Duel Scramble event. It might be a little difficult to get the Tinosauruses now, but I'm sure Wave Duel will be back before you know it. Now, there were some cards mentioned on our skill, which is what we're getting to now. We're on 3 Jointech Raptor. During the turn you normal summon this card, each player sends 2 cards from the top of their deck to the graveyard. And inflict damage to your opponent equal to the number of monsters sent to the graveyard by this effect times 100. Then if a face-up equip spell card is on your field, you can change one attack position monster in your opponent's field to face-up defense position. Another card that just really sets you up for the piercing of Jointech Rush Horn. Jointech Raptor is a really good card. You would think that the skill giving him an attack boost would mean he was some kind of powerhouse, but you actually take a look and you see that Raptor is only 800 attack, 1200 defense. So he's not really much of an aggressive tool. You're pretty much just going to be using him to normal and grab the equip card plus 100% of the time. Following up, we are on 2, Jointech Leo. This is our recurring card. Now, we can't play Ancient Gear Golem in this deck because of the skill restrictions, which is really rough. So we don't really need to max out on Leo because we have so many other cards to put things back into our deck that Leo just is a sometimes need to pick one of our bigger guys up out of the graveyard. Now we have the machine staples. We have 3 Assault Cannon, 3 Crafter Joan, 3 Avant Wolf, and 3 Worker Warriors. We're just playing the best cards possible, machines that fit within our skill restrictions. For our legend card, we are on the Pot of Greed. We need to tribute some of these level 7 guys so bad, so we need to use Pot at all costs to give us a big hand to play with. Like I said, we're going to be putting cards back a lot off of the Jointech Rex. However, our other partner in crime, since we are milling ourselves with Raptor, is the Talismanic Seal Array. There is an excuse to play multiple of the Talismanic Seal Array. I just didn't really find a good slot for it where it could replace anything else. Now, here is the card mentioned in our skill, the Jointech Rush Horn. It's an equip card. Equip this card 1 face-up machine type monster on your field. The equip monster gains 3 damage attack and inflicts piercing battle damage. I've mentioned the piercing damage multiple times. That is basically the biggest part of this card, is it grants you that piercing, basically meaning the opponent can't do any kind of defensive plays because your big dudes are going to get in anyway. We're on 2 copies of MST because Jointech Rex is 2 more copies of MST. Our legend trap of choice is Trap Hole because we want to kill Gaia on the spot. However, if we cannot kill Gaia on the spot, we want to survive battle, so we are also playing 1 copy of Wed-Fri Slime, and for last card in our deck, we are on 1 card Restoration. We really need the +1 off the card Restoration. However, that only really comes up against decks that are not Gaia exactly. Now, I do want to mention there is 1 more card you're going to see probably in my testing footage that didn't make it into this final version of the deck I have in front of me. I originally was on 2 copies of 7 Shift in this deck, which were in the slots of 1 of the Assault Cannons and this card Restoration, but I ended up cutting 7 Shift all together out of the deck after I finished my testing because it was constantly dead in my opening hand, ruining my plays because we need to normal summon our level 7s to activate the skill. So you're probably going to see it show up in the games, but I did cut it. It isn't that great. All right, now let's hop into the games so I can show you what this deck is all about. All right, here we are, game number 1, and our opponent is on Psychics. Now, like I mentioned in the card by card, this is an earlier version of the deck where I was still experimenting with at least 1 or 2 copies of 7 Shift. Like I said again, this card isn't great. It ended up being cut at the end of it, but we did get some good games while it was still in the deck, so I figured I'd still feature those, even though this card we're not exactly playing is still included. Anyway, so we're going first. You can see we open Pot of Greed, Rafter Drone, and Assault Cannon. Pretty good. Tinosaurus right at the top is really nice, and then 2 more normals of the Pot of Greed. This is something you really like to see, being able to set a whole bunch of cards, and we're also going to set the Tinosaurus to actually empty out our hand. We noticed that our opponent was playing Psychics with a Psychic skill, so we knew we were safe to play cards in defense position and not be at risk of them just dying. So you can see they're also just setting their entire hand and then setting up their graveyard for next turn, milling a Prima Katana off the skill. Now, this is really good for us because they can only contest 1 card, and we just have a whole field and a fresh hand. We're just going to go ahead and summon out the Jointech Rex here. We do need to start sniping these back row, and we only have 1 option to do it, so here we go. Put 3 cards back, snipe a back row. We always go for the middle because the bad players put their best card in the middle, and you can see we hit a Psychic Divergence. This would be pretty bad for us if they managed to put the 7 Shift back on top of the deck, because we do not want this card at all. Anyway, we're going to flip summon our Tinosaurus, activate Jointech Press Rush because we did normal summon this Jointech Rex, boosting the Raptor, activating Tino effect, Rush Horn, equip to the Rex, Now we can get over here for 2,800 as long as there's no back row. And you can see that we didn't really get anything out of the back row there. We're going to swing in again, and it is Amalilth. We don't really know what the defense lines of psychic monsters are. Honestly, it's been so long, I pretty much forgot how to play the deck, honestly. But we did want to risk it, so we went ahead and attacked on Tinosaurus. Of course, it would have just been lethal if we went in for Raptor, but whatever. So you're going to see they tribute summon the Psychic Upper, activate the effect, and now they're fusing for the Candy Live. I thought I was pretty much dead here, but what they do is they go ahead and use the Candy Live effect, summon the Prima Gitarna. Prima Gitarna effect, boost them up really high, and you might notice, hey, we're not dead. Using their skill just to mill a Candy, that's pretty good for them. They're all set up. We have the Jointech Raptor, but guess what? We can burn them with the other one in our hand. Let's go ahead and snipe it back, or we go ahead and snipe the new set because the other two didn't do anything to us in the first place. You can see it was a star restart. That's whatever. Jointech Raptor, burn them again, mill them out. Now, tribute summon the Jointech Tinosaurus. We have our skill online, so we're going to go ahead and add the equip card back, and now we weren't getting any response at all. So we're going to Tinosaurus, pitch this to that, and honestly, if they were toggling, they just win the game here. So let's go ahead, set the last card, and swing in for Tinosaurus. And nope, they were not toggling at all. The last two cards were absolutely nothing. So we go ahead and pierce over their 0 defense monster for the win. Pretty dominating performance by us, I gotta say. I'm really impressed with how strong the piercing ends up being, as well having 3 of the Jointech Raptors really gives us good consistency over a deck that got their consistency hit into the ground like Psychics. Alright, here we are, game number 2, and our opponent is on Dragons. Yes, we are facing a meta deck here. Now we're going second. You can see we actually got a pretty decent hand. Basically a bunch of guys we can tribute, a guy we can pitch, and then we can just also distribute some of this Jointech Rex. So we do have our equip card able to be added. So you can see they just got normal summon 2 star replacers, very funny. Tribute over them for the Miragias. That's certainly something. Setting 1 card and passing, I guess it makes kind of sense because they can tell we're not exactly playing a deck that will beat them. Oh, you can see 7 Shift is still here. Pot of Greed draws 7 Shift. We activate 7 Shift and then summon out that Rex. Now, pause. Here is the exact moment I realized we have to cut this card because I special the Jointech Rex and then I read it. I read the Rex and I said, God damn it, I forgot this guy needs to be normal. As well, we do not have access to our skill, so we can't swing over the Miragias as it stands. Of course, we have the Assault Cannon in hand for that, but we're going to dig with the Crafter Drone to hopefully find something help us. And would you look at that Jointech Raptor right off the top. So we get to go, normal, activate the effect. Now our skill is online. Jointech Press Rush adds the horn, boosts the little Raptor, equip the horn to Jointech Rex. Now we can finally swing over this Miragias. Thankfully, the back row is nothing. Swing in for 1,000, swing in for 13. However, we are in range to be OTK'd if they find Miragias, a card to discard for Miragias, and the cards to fuse for Miragias Star F. Now they add the Dragon and Fusion, which are 2 out of the 4 cards they need. They're going to activate some shift their own, very scary. But then we see the summon the Dragias here, which is really good for us because this Dragias cannot OTK us. Thankfully, they're now fusing with this into Dragias Star F, which is amazing for us. We are so glad to see Dragias Star F because we know we get another turn. Activating the effect, so gain 900 and can make 2 attacks. We are taking a whole bunch of damage. They're just going to pop our equip card, which is whatever, just do a little bit more damage to us. Sure. Swing over everything. Boom, 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 boom. We barely live with just 1,500 attack. If they had 1 more monster in hand, we were dead on the spot. We draw for turn, and these cards aren't great, but we have Jointech Leo, so we're going to go ahead and use Jointech Leo. Give them back that Dragon's Inferno. Sure, buddy, go ahead and have that. And we get Tinosaurus. Why do we add Tinosaurus? Well, I had Barrage of Steel, pop the Unknown, which was a negate attack. Pretty good. Normal summon the other Jointech Leo. Assault Cannon, milling, contributing 2 for the Tinosaurus. Here we go, Jointech Leo. We're going to give them the other Dragon's Inferno. So like, here, man, you want to pop spell traps? Go ahead. Now we got Tinosaurus. Pitch that Jointech Rex that we just added. Go ahead and add the horn. Activate the horn. Equip. We now have a 2600. Now, last card, Talismanic Seal Ray. Put away everything. We're going to lower down this Sylphidra and go ahead, go battle. Boom! We swing in for 26. And now, swing over the Sylphidra for 1000 damage, giving us lethal and taking the game. Oh my god. Are we lucky they did not see a second Miragios? If they had just held that first Miragios for their turn 3, we were done for. But thankfully they didn't. So we get the win, and I get a nice match to use for this video. Alright, let's check out game number 3. Alright, here we are, game number 3, and you know what that means. A 1v1 versus Cyber Dragon. Yes, so for the third game, we are featuring a Cyber Dragon match. Not because I couldn't beat any Gaia games, but because those Gaia games were all slogs. The only times we actually managed to beat Gaia, it was just so long, so just plotting, just begging, just please, just draw a monster, let them whiff a draw, all this. The games were just way too long to feature. So, we are going first against Cyber Dragon, and when you can see we have Jointech Rex, Card Restoration, Raptor, and Raptor. We're going to draw for turn, and it is Raptor Jerome. We're going to go ahead and normal summon the Jointech Raptor. We were just assuming the opponent was on Cyber Dragon, so we're like, let's just play it this way. And you can see the first mills that reveals they were on Cyber Dragon. Now you can see, hold on, we had Insano mode mills on their end. We took out 2 of their Cyber Dragons, and we paid the price by also losing Podagri Dinosaurs. So maybe it weren't so Insano mode. Now we're just going to go ahead and tribute set the Jointech Rex, just so we can't take any damage from their obvious Cyber Dragon in hand. And here we go. Start with Special Sidra. You do like to see them boosting this one, which means they're probably not going to make a Cyber Twin or Cyber End, and then they normal Proto. They normal third Proto, now praying, absolutely praying they went for the Cyber End, which we were able to beat, but nope, it's Cyber Twin, so we are going to take some damage. However, we're also going to heal a bit with Card Restoration. That's a pretty bad hand there, gotta say. So we're going to take this 2600. We really need a pretty good card off the top to fix this up, but we don't know if we're going to get that. Assault Cannon's not really it. But at the very least, we have 2 Assault Cannons, so we could maybe get over something here. I'm not really good at math, so let's just go ahead and let the past me take this over. Let's see, what do we actually do here? Assault Cannon lower, Assault Cannon lower. Oh, we're just taking out the Cyber Dragon, sure. And we, yeah. Well, we can get over by 100. Okay. I'm bad at math. Who was I to doubt myself? Anyway, go ahead and swing in, do 100 damage over the Cyber Dragon. But we are still staring down this Cyber Twin, and our only support is a Trap Hole and Buffered Slime. Well, they're just going to special things instead of tribute something, so we're kind of in a rough spot. Boosting their guy up. Thankfully, their board is full. Then the Talismanic Seal Ray. You can see here, actually, I got mega jump scared. Oh, didn't show up in there. Hold on. Wait for this to resolve. Mega jump scared by the inclusion of Magnum Overlord in their deck. From this point, I was like, oh my god, we need to kill this guy as soon as possible. We're going to go ahead and Buffered Slime, make sure we don't take any extra damage, but we are going to lose every monster on our board. We need to kill this guy. If they just sack the Magnum Overlord pieces, we are just dead. Go ahead and draw, and hey, if they had Magnum Overlord here, here's the card that would beat him. Anyway, let's go Tribute 2, bring up the Jointech Rex. Now our skills, thankfully, online. Go ahead and put some guys back that we need. Pop that last back row. Get Slime. Talismanic Seal Ray, put some more guys back. We're just going to probably get over this Cyber Twin here. Yep, it's the biggest threat on the board, although we would love to be able to kill this Cyber Dragon. Alright, Jointech Rush Horn, equipping to the Rex. Normal summoning Avant Wolf. Avant Wolf swings over the Twin, and then Jointech Rex takes out their Cyber Dragon. Now, like I said, we are still very scared of a Max Overlord coming down. And here they go, leading Proto. We're like, okay, we have to out this. We cannot let them go for another Cyber Twin. So we trapped whole the Proto Cyber Dragon. And you can see here, they did not find anything else. They Talismanic Seal Raid over our Rex, so this Avant Wolf can crash, but we get to keep one of our own. And what banger draws! Double Raptor into Tino. So we're going to go ahead and boost that Raptor. Normal Sun Raptor. Tribute the Raptors. We're very low on cards, so we did not activate the Raptor skills, by the way. Rush Horn. Here we go. We're going just for the kill shot, basically. Normal Sun, Worker, Warrior. Tinosaurus, put that guy in defense, put him down to 0. Go ahead and pierce. No response for the opponent, so we hit them for 26. Go ahead, swing in again for 4. And do we finish them off? Were they toggling the entire time? They were not. Worker Warrior goes and swings for 1400, and we win the game. Thankfully, never seeing the Magnum Overlord come down to the board and instantly kill us. Oh, wow. These decks like Cyber Dragon are still so scary to face against. If they just make Cyber Twin every turn, I have no idea how we end up beating that. So we're back to the deck, and hey, that looked pretty good. Now, let's go over the pros and cons. First, the pros. Piercing is very cool. Piercing is super cool. Consistent access to just piercing damage is really cool. MSD on legs. Honestly, it's feeling a lot better now than it used to. We're getting to a point where back row is must resolve, so being able to at least mimic a fraction of Gaia's power in sniping back row is really nice. Jointech Leo is a really great addition to the deck. Not only are we able to clog up the opponent's spell trap zones, but we get back our big powerful boys, making sure we always have cards to pitch for Tinosaurus, or being able to loop MSTs. Jointech Raptor as well, milling the opponent is actually really good. Also, the burn damage is nothing to scoff at. Of course, having access to our skill with just a level 4 monsters being normal summon is also really cool. Thankfully, we are not locked into just needing these level 7s to actually hit the board to do things. There's also just so much other good machine stuff we get to play. Assault Cannon is really cool. It's a really strong for its, type. The whole lowering monsters attack defense is kind of like an archetype of its own in Rush, and Assault Cannon is a big star of them. Now the cons. First of all, the boys. They're level 7s and they must be normal summon. I did take 7 Shift out of the deck because they must be normal summon. Our deck needs a whole lot of cards in hand to even really function. Of course, we need 2 monsters to tribute summon for the guys. We need an extra card in hand to discard for Tinosaurus. And honestly, we need something to even get the equip on after we grab the equip with the skill when normal summoning Raptor. Because, yeah, the skill boosts Raptor, but you saw how much attack Raptor goes to if you equip the card to him. He's a 1600. What are we supposed to do with 1600? We're going up against Gaia. We're going up against dragons. Like, those guys are huge. And the opponent is able to build those kinds of boards with these huge dudes every single turn. So turning a Raptor into a 1600 doesn't really do a damn thing for us. As well, we can't really push too hard. It's the same. So we have good pushes, right? We do have good pushes. But we invest so much into a play with like Tinosaurus to out a big guy that we end up just doing Tino 1500 equip card pass. And we can't protect ourselves at all. Maybe we manage to find Trap Hole or Slime or Restoration, but like, listen, we're in a format where these cards are just going to get sniped right away, honestly. Also, the skill, oh my god, the restrictions on the skill are so frustrating. Not only is it frustrating that we have to normal summon these dudes, but the fact that the attack restriction locks us out of big machine powerhouses like Ancient Golem just really sucks. As well, it also locks us out of other good in archetype cards. Cards like one of my favorite cards in the game is Steel Steed Martin Vinari here. He's one of my favorite cards in the game. We can't play him because he's 2400 attack. Very frustrating. Very, very, very frustrating. All in all, I'm pretty happy with the way this deck performed. It does struggle a lot against Gaia, but I feel like the overall power level of Jointech is decent. It's really decent. The machine tools are just so strong on their own that putting it into a consistent deck does help out. But that's all I really have to say for this. You can leave it in the comments below what you think of Jointech. Maybe there's like some other like techs that I didn't really try that maybe you know of, so you can leave those down below. And while you're down there, if there is a deck you would like to see me feature on the series, go ahead and leave that down there too. Anyway, as always at the end of this video, I say thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, like the video, all that good stuff. I'll see you later. Goodbye.